Have an interactive discussion. It should be recording.
Yep, so it's recording. Good. Okay, so thanks everybody for coming. I'm very excited to have this conversation and looking forward to some new revelations maybe. We'll see. But just before we start, just so we're clear, if you just want to maybe say who you are and that you're okay with, if you're okay with videotaping and making this public, if you just state that. So obviously I'm Liz Campbell, and I'm certainly okay with the videotaping of this and then posting of it on YouTube.
I'm Rebecca Dempsey, and I'm okay with this being videotaped and made public.
I'm Sabreea, and I agree with this videotaping session.
And making it public.
And making it public.
I guess we're giving permission is what we're doing.
Yes. I'm Brianne, and I am also okay with this being recorded and posted.
Okay, thanks. So, like I said to you guys earlier, part of the reason I wanted to have this dialogue was I was very anxious to see how you're all doing, and to touch base again, but also because you know, in completing my master's and now my PhD, I've been giving a lot of thought to what we did in our philosophy class, and as other people have encouraged me to do, I've been rethinking about some of that because I think it was even more amazing than what I thought it was. And a lot of that comes from reading what you guys had written at the end of the course. And so, you know, now that we're all colleagues and there's no teacher-student power differential, although I think in our situation it was a little bit, we were colleagues then too, we were all co-teachers and co-learners. I certainly learned as much as I facilitated learning in that classroom. So I'm basically saying that what I tried to do was create a community of inquiry based on the model that I experienced doing my master's program, and I shared my journey with you. I feel like I was loved into learning in my master's program, and then, you know, as a result of that, my two main values, love and joy, became a big part of who I was as a classroom teacher, and I tried to put those values into practice every day and try to create an environment and a space and time where my students could have similar experiences to what I had. And I'm claiming that certainly did happen, and it happened far beyond how I ever expected it to. Really, so many students had such powerful experiences. But so if we can just take a few minutes, and you can comment on anything that you'd like to comment on. It doesn't have to be, you know, related to what I just said, but if you could just reflect on that experience, anything that sticks in your head that was meaningful for you, resonated with you, what worked, what didn't work, how, if you've applied this recently, anything at all. Let's just kind of have a conversation about that experience so we can, again, learn from it, and I can continue to improve my practice. Anybody want to start?
I just really liked how the whole learning experience was set up. I found it was so much different from any class that I've had, that it was just really refreshing. And I found that I felt I took away a lot more from each class than just sitting there listening to a lecture and copying out questions from a textbook. It was just a lot more engaging, and it made me think a lot more. I just really enjoyed it. I actually wrote at the end of my exam a little paragraph that I made a note that it made me smile to look back on it, where I wrote a thank you to Mrs. Campbell. And I wrote on it that this is an exam, but this class is unconventional, and so it feels perfectly appropriate to me to end on a thank you. And I just wrote that it was such an interesting way to facilitate my learning, that I admired the environment, and that I felt comfortable and was really happy with being in control of my own learning and my own success. It was kind of refreshing to know that I was trusted to guide myself and to take on my own ideas and my own sort of thoughts. I really liked it. It was definitely one of my favorite classes.
Yeah, I can continue with Brianne. I feel like how, like with the, it's kind of like what Astor Taylor said about like schooling. It's kind of like that. Like if I could learn like that, I would be really like I could actually go somewhere. And like I'm like looking through like all of these things are still true. Some of these things changed. Like I'm actually in my program that I actually wanted to go into. I just don't care what people think anymore. And I'm actually, like, there was one part where I said that what I thought people would think when they first knew me, and I actually asked a friend of mine what she thought of me, and she said that I was shy, but I had a mission to, like, something to say, and I think it was perfect. Like, I'm like, okay, I got it. I think, like, this philosophy was the best like, it was kind of like a healing process for me, and, like, that changed everything for me.
I think you found your voice.
Yeah.
That's,
When I asked Sabreea a little while ago how school is and everything like that, and she told me she ended up going to her media arts, I was like, really? Wow, that's so great. I was so glad to hear that you went for that instead of the business thing that your dad wanted to do.
Yeah, it was funny because at the commencement, I got a scholarship for the business. But they read out what I went to. I was like, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. Chose the other.
changed my mind.
Yeah.
And that was you trying to live more according to your values,
Yeah.
right?
Like I'm more free to myself. Like I think I have more guts now. I'm taking more chances. Like before I would never like do something without a friend like coming with me. Like but now I'm going to these like really interesting sessions that relate to my interests all by myself, and that's kind of a big step for me. Like because I'm so shy and they're like, okay, that's like, can you come with me, Brianne? So it made a huge difference. Thank you.
Thank yourself and your colleagues. I mean, I think a big part of it was watching other people take risks, right? And
No,
in fact, you opened that door for us big time in that classroom, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry, I had to cry. That was awkward. That was awkward. When we were in that video and I cried, that was awkward. Hope I didn't scare Jack.
But it encouraged a lot of people, don't you think?
I hope so. Hopefully, I felt really embarrassed afterwards, and then I reflected on that later, and I never actually showed you that reflection because I was embarrassed that I was reflecting on being embarrassed, so I never showed anyone that reflection. But
remember what I said afterwards? You wanted me, like, I kind of felt like telling my vulnerability.
Yeah, you told me that you felt more comfortable.
Like, I just wanted to jump in, like, saying what I want, so you would feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
Somebody else share it.
But I think from that class it was really helpful, the atmosphere that was set up between us. Like, you know, I would have never felt comfortable saying that if you weren't there and I knew that you were going to end up eventually doing it with me. So I was like, well, if I start, someone will follow.
Yeah.
Just like the cookie train.
Exactly. Great metaphor.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, it was a really great atmosphere, it was really easygoing and laid back, and I definitely agree with Brianne. I liked being in charge of my own learning. And, you know, for the first half of the semester when I got my mark back and it was like half what I thought it was going to be, I was so disappointed and I didn't understand why.
Yeah.
Until later, it kind of clued in that I wasn't learning what you were trying to facilitate. I was doing what I would have done in every single other class. I was just putting my best effort into doing everything so that I covered all my bases.
I think that's a problem. Like we're kind of like formed into this mind track, like this one way, and like we kind of lose that individuality, right? Like the authenticity, and we don't like learn the way we should learn. Like we all have our own ways.
Yeah. Well, we do what we're expected to do rather than what we should be doing, and I think that's probably why your class was so difficult for a while. It's just because I didn't understand what you were trying to tell us to do.
So we're so used to doing like textbook question, answer the question,
and
this
there's
is a
only
lecture.
like 1 or 2 right answers for each question. Like, it's not,
but like for philosophy, there's no right
answer.
Everything can be right depending on the person.
Even like with the exam I found when we went to go write it, I started thinking about it like, okay, gonna write my essay, what's my thesis statement, and then I was like, why? Because that's not what this class is, so I'm not gonna write it that way, because then it takes away from what you're trying to get across, I think, because we all wanted to, whatever we were studying for the semester, it was very personal, so I think to try and put it in an essay that way, it doesn't work, because you start focusing on structure and like how many pages am I writing, how many paragraphs are there, and you lose your message. So even at the very end, once I knew how the course was going, I still wanted to like write it like a normal essay.
I feel like I love my program. Like it's like I'm so happy to go to school. Like 1 week of being away from school, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go back. I can go back. And like you're surrounded by people you know, like who think like you. So it's kind of like you feed off of that, and you improve. So like the people in my program, they're like think really weird, they dress weird, they talk weird. So and they're really creative.
Yeah, but weird is awesome.
Yeah, weird is awesome.
Well, you're celebrating everyone's difference, right? Instead of trying to conform, there's opportunity to express your freedom.
For like I've been taught, there's one girl on my floor. She's doing architecture, which is one of the hardest courses, where they like practically live in the studio, and that's the only job she can get, architecture. Whereas with new media, I can go into architecture, I can go into doctorate, I can go into film, I can go into photography. There's endless opportunities, and you can do whatever like you feel like, whatever you dream, and that's like huge. Like I don't see why my parents don't see that. Like they don't research like I did. Like I know I have a big chance of kind of going far, like doing a job I love and then becoming successful. But like it's so some people are so like stuck in their mind track. It's kind of frustrating. Like they just get it.
No, I know, even with my own dad, he was kind of the same way, but I know if everyone had the opportunity to go through a course like what we went through.
Yeah, their mind changed. Like,
the mindset. Like, not every course can be taught this way, not every course should be. Like, science should definitely be textbook questions, answers, and math, textbook questions, answers. English should be a little bit more like this, though, where you have the opportunity to study who you want to study. Because I know a lot of people who fail English just don't get Shakespeare, and that's their problem.
Yeah.
Or, like, they aren't good at grammar, but they could be really great writers. They would just need someone to help them with their grammar, or maybe their grammar mistakes are what makes the book the way that it should be, too. So I think certain courses could be taught a little bit more like this, but I think even if no other course is taught this way, at least once in their lifetime, everyone should experience this.
No, I think the thing is, like, you should just follow what you desire, like, what you dream of, like, what you're passionate about. Like, if you're passionate about science, go for it. You'll succeed. Like, if you're passionate about art, like Brianne is, like, she'll go far. Like, she's amazing. You have your interview, right? So you'll do fun. So, like, right now, like, I've been, like, looking at, like, inspirational quotes. Those have been, like, really helpful. Like, those are really motivating.
Yeah, definitely. I was looking back I don't know, when I first opened up my Facebook account, like back before Timeline, back before like the 7th different generation of Facebook, back when it was like just new, and they ask you to tell you about yourself, and then they ask, favorite quotes, favorite movies, favorite books. Well, I haven't changed any of that since I opened my account, and that's like 7 years. So the other day I was like, I wonder what I have in here. There were so many old quotes that, I was reading about, and some of them were really powerful and strong, and other ones were like, no, I don't think so. So it was really interesting to see the difference between, and it was like a huge difference, not even just over the 7 years, my changing personalities, but it was more particularly this course leaned me towards, my values. Like my signature, the one that you love so much, I developed that signature after I graduated high school. I developed that my values were love and happiness, and those are the most important values to me. As far as I have figured so far, it's just because they're so important to me. I always care about my happiness and other people's happiness, and and love is just, it's love. Everyone cares for love, right? So.
Everyone does care about love in one way or another, but not everybody readily admits it, right? And you do now, and that's amazing.
Before that course, I would have never admitted that. I would be like, nope, I grew up in a male chauvinist society. I don't know anything about the word love. What's love? Oh, hey, look, love.
Yeah.
Does anyone else see
all
that
over the
picture over
place.
there?
Brianne, you mentioned trust.
Yeah.
And I think all of you actually are talking about trust in a way, but correct me if I'm wrong, because that's one of the claims that I made too when I was reflecting, is that, you know, it takes a lot of time and trust to do something alternative like this that opens up space for different ways of knowing and representing your knowledge. And I think I saw in all of you come to trust yourself more. Trust others and then trust yourself more. And I was just reflecting that even as I'm doing my PhD courses, in the most recent course, I actually learned to trust myself more, you know, and it's amazing. For me, it was by trusting others, then, you know, I was able to trust myself more, and it becomes reciprocal. The more I trust others, the more I trust myself. The more I trust myself, the more I'm able to trust others, and then live according to my values, or follow my heart, or, you know, those kinds of things. Anybody have anything else to say about trust? Or?
Well, just the way that you allowed freedom for us, like the way that you trusted us, I think left ourselves more open. It was a good example for us to be able to trust others and in return as well trust ourselves. But you showing us that you can trust us, I felt for me personally was that I was capable of trusting others with my thoughts and my feelings and anything that I was sharing. I could trust them not to laugh at me or make me feel like a fool. And then, you know, when I got to the point of trusting others with my emotions and ridiculousness, I trusted myself with my craziness. So
like,
just
who else do you trust if you're not yourself, right? Like
Yeah.
you're like at the end of the day, like if you're kind of on your own, like you're like I'm on my own at the moment when I go back, so I have to make my own decision. I have to trust myself and my gut reactions and whatnot. So like,
It's funny because I would have said the same thing, Sabreea. You know, if you want to be more loving, love more. If you want to be more trusting, trust more. You know, and I've known that most of my life.
yeah,
But I've only really come to know it recently, like really understand it. And I think, you know, I'm still learning, you know, and I'm still growing.
yeah. Like it's like with me, like I used to like take care of it, like kind of care for other people. Like I would try to solve their problem, but I kind of look into my own problem. So, but I have to look at my own problems first before I can solve other people's. Like nowadays, like I treat myself a lot now. Like I'm on my own. Like I'll treat myself with a shopping trip that I usually wouldn't do. Like I would just stay in my room. But like now I go, I treat myself, then I treat my friends. It's kind of like. It's a learning process. Like you know, like if you treat yourself really well, you can treat other people as right. If you treat yourself really badly, you won't know how to treat other people.
Yeah, well, it's like, I can't remember where I heard it, but it was a movie that I watched recently, and it might have been, have you guys seen Courageous at all? It's a really good movie, and it's powerful. I think you three would really love it. But I think it was Courageous, and it was, a person can't really know how to love until they love themselves, and a person can't know how to trust until they trust themselves. So I think that was a really big lesson that was learned.
Yeah. I also found that when I knew that I was trusted to guide myself and to say things in front of the class, that I wanted to do it more because I knew that people did trust me and that I could trust other people in the group too. Because, you know, the more that other people would come out and say things or throw in ideas, the more I was kind of like, okay, well, if they can trust me to have that information that they've just put out there, then why wouldn't I be able to trust them with the same? So it made it a lot more comfortable. I think it was a big theme.
And
kind of the whole.
with those group discussions, I'm okay if you get me with like 4 or 5 people. I used to be really okay with that. But when you would have every single person in a circle, I never wanted to say anything. But there was that one boy, and he just always had something to say. And I was like, well, if he's always saying something, someone should say something back.
Yeah.
So I think that helped me open up a lot more to the class.
I am working on that part. Like I said, this one guy in my class, he would comment no matter what. And but like we would work together in the group, so like I can talk back to him because I'm used to him now. So, but with other people, I'm like I went to a concert, and it was rowdy and pushy. I wanted to scream at people, but I didn't. So I'm like, I need to get the a kind of grow a spine and just stick up for myself at times.
And it takes time though, right?
Yeah.
Good things take time. I think that you've done amazing, considering where you were, say, at this time last year.
Yeah.
Right? And where you are now. Like, you've taken a lot of great leaps and courageous.
I was surprised when you said that, I already had this information. I just didn't know it. I've at a point where some people will get to when they're, right about to, when they're really near their end of their life. I'm like, I probably should have learned that a while ago, because it would have helped so much. I would have been, so much more confident. And
But you have this knowledge
yeah,
now,
now
right?
I have the knowledge now, and
Yeah.
I can sort of probably get through university and the rest of my life smoothly.
Well, and you trust your
Yeah.
own body
Yeah.
knowledge now.
Yeah.
So I think, that's huge. It's definitely huge. And all of us, I think, are better at trusting our own body knowledge as a result of sharing that knowledge and getting validation. Cool. Anything else that you want to share?
Yeah, I think with that course, allowing us to play. I know that sounds ridiculous, but allowing us to play absolutely helped me experience things that I would have never experienced. I learned things about people who I've known since grade 2, and I learned things about them that haven't changed since grade 2, maybe expanded, but haven't changed, but I never knew. So playing was definitely big, and what I was thinking, actually I was just kind of reflecting, right? And what I had mentioned in my reflection was that if we had kind of did one right off the beginning and saw how withdrawn we all were, and I'm just imagining how it would have been, but we all would have been fairly withdrawn. I don't think any of us would have really gotten out there and played and stuff like that, and we would have stayed within our own little circle of friends, not really gone out and discovered.
I went to university, first day of class, you're freaking out, it's new starting new school again. But I had to just go in there, talk, and I have a bunch of people that I know I'll have for the rest of my life.
Yeah, you just go in there and start talking to someone openly.
It's funny how a lot of students reflected on that play.
It's because it was a really big thing for I think everybody, and I kind of only wrote half the quote because I couldn't remember exactly how it went, but you learn more about a person in an hour of play than a lifetime of conversation.
I think it was really amazing to me how willing everyone was to play. Because I feel like if you had taken one person and just asked them to play, they wouldn't want to, because there is that fear of judgment and that untrust. But because everyone was just kind of threw it out there and was just well, okay, we're gonna play, I will. That there was no
if you don't do that, the only time I'll ever play is when we have our own kids, right? Because that's gonna force us to run around.
It'll force us to remember how to play and how to be spontaneous and be creative.
Look at me, Brianne will know this. I have a plush toy Bilbo from The Hobbit that I have beside my bed.
So amazing.
I think we always should keep playing, because you can never forget how. I mean, it's always with you, because it's just letting go, but I think we suppress it because there's that judgment that you'll maybe seem, I don't know, immature, or there's some kind of judgment there. But I think you learn more about people because it kind of suspends all of your critique and your worry and your distrust, and you just have fun.
Yeah, and you enjoy the company you're with. Whether you know the person or not, you can enjoy the time.
There's no pressure.
Relax.
Yeah. Just do what you want to do.
Unlike when we were videotaping. But I think my claim would be that certainly helped you, all of you. It was a little uncomfortable at first. I think everybody commented on that. But
I don't think I really minded being videotaped because you pretend that it's not there. It's when you have to go back and look at the videotape and you're looking at yourself and you're going, oh.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was just song quotes video. I found that really powerful, especially since there was only one person that sang. They put them right at the end. And
Right.
I think that helped a lot of people open up too, because I was thinking like, oh man, I should have sung. Someone else did.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know, it was just...
Notes from the heart. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that was one action project, right?
Yeah, and it was just perfect.
Do you think it got easier, Becki, to watch yourself on video?
Every time I'd watch myself the first time, it wasn't as uncomfortable, but it was still fairly uncomfortable to watch the first time. And then when you watched again, it wasn't as bad, and then again, it wasn't as bad. And then by the fourth or fifth time, you're thinking like, oh my god, do I really have to watch this again? So I don't know, but I found like it was still the most difficult to watch it the first time. Right after, it just got marginally easier each time.
Did you learn anything, do you think, about yourself, others, anybody? I'm not
I
gonna-
definitely learned a lot about myself, and
From watching the video, or from,
from watching videos, like videos of ourselves, videos of our groups, like our huge circle group discussions that were videotaped, like everything. You learn a lot about yourself from those, like even just watching how you're reacting to other people, and then you know how they react to you when you say something. You learn about yourself and your own powers when you're speaking and watching someone react, and they're really intrigued in what you're saying. It's really interesting to see how someone else reacts, because you're not really paying attention. You're trying to say what you're saying.
Yeah, like when we were doing the video project, like we would have to watch every single one, and we would like have to discuss it after, or sending a question. So, like when we were watching my group video for the one where I like kind of swear, like when that word like kind of was loud, I'd be like, oh, and I was like. And I told my friend Mira to like watch people's reactions, because that's what we learned in philosophy. And they were like, and apparently like they were all like respectful of it. Like they were like, oh my god, she's gonna do it, she's gonna fight it. And I'm like, so it's a huge thing. I think I'm better at watching myself now a bit. Like there's still the like, oh god, why did I say that?
Yeah, definitely.
But I think it's better. Like I think I'm okay now. I still don't like being like, I don't like the sound of my voice, of course. But it's like I observe everything naturally, and I analyze it until it's a whole. So it was really interesting to watch my video, like seeing it when I was all by myself, and then having everybody watch it and telling me what they thought is really powerful. Like I got like so much positive feedback.
It was huge for everyone.
Yeah.
That was a big contribution to that community of inquiry.
Yeah.
Right? Because again, you took a big risk. You
Yeah.
trusted the class.
Yeah.
And in response, they trusted you, and they honored your risk taking.
And like I think my teacher asked, my professor asked, like whether I'm gonna you're gonna be talking about this subject in your future projects, aren't you? I was like, yeah. I spent a whole half of the semester in my philosophy class doing this, so yes, it's gonna be a huge project for me.
So you're still learning and growing.
Yeah.
Expanding.
Yeah.
I found that the videos got a lot easier for me, I think. And I thought it was kind of neat, because at first, you're horrified watching yourself, and you're like, I sound like that? Like, what am I doing? What is that? Like,
Especially when you've got all the other people watching
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
too. It's like, oh my god, what are these other
And
people
you
thinking
know.
about me? I'm thinking this.
yeah, you say a word wrong, and you're like, oh my god, everyone knows I mispronounced it. Like, that's not even, who cares? So I found that the more I went along, the less I did that, and the more I kind of tried to focus on maybe mannerisms that I have, or just ways that, maybe even the way that I was talking, you could tell how I felt about what I was saying. And I did I did my reflection video on my whole book that I watched with you, and I actually had no problem really watching it with you, which kind of surprised me, because it was so personal that I thought
I
it
think
would.
it's because of Mrs. Campbell, because she's a teacher, right? She's not supposed
Yeah.
to judge you, she's supposed to help you.
I guess
Whereas
so.
our classmates are
Students
like
judge.
friends, and like they might judge
Colleagues,
you.
and you're gonna
But
go
it's a
to
high school. Like it's high school, university is more like these people you will like these like what one of my professors said, like once you get out of high school, university, these are your first set of contacts, like work contacts.
Yeah.
Like these people you call, they're your first, they're the first people you call when you have your first project. And then you go up, right? So it's like more, you can get personal with them and they'll like won't judge you.
They won't judge you because there isn't that ridiculous hometown high school
Yeah.
stigma.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think you guys broke through some of that.
Yeah.
Definitely within our class, but
Yeah.
I know leaving that class, I still felt the same
Yeah.
stigma. Like
Yeah,
I was
it
still constantly thinking like, yeah, within my own class, I can be open and honest and trusting. But as soon as you go to your next class, you're thinking like, oh my god, if I put my hand up and say the wrong thing, am I going to get in trouble? Is this going to be the wrong answer? Am I going to be embarrassed?
Yeah, like for university, like for my group, like I was in the same, there was a number of people that were in my classes, like that were the same. So it's kind of like elementary school, but it's like not like high school where there's different people in different classes. So they know you, you become really close, and they make a huge impact.
I think that sharing your values helped you to get to know each other quickly in our class. Even, you know, we only had one semester, 70 minutes a day, but you were, because you guys took that risk and you identified your values, you shared your values, you held yourself accountable to those, then you tried to put them into action and revised your action projects accordingly. I thought that was one of the biggest things because you saw people sharing something that was extremely personal, right, and making it public. I hope that, I think, Becki, earlier you said that, you know, it's difficult to do this in math or science or places like that, but I still think that we can create more communities of inquiry in whatever circles we're in. And for me, that's part of, I guess, my, you know, what gives my life meaning now and purpose is trying to do that everywhere I go, because it's not an easy task, but I think it's a worthwhile one. So, but I felt loved into learning in my journey, and you know, I think if people feel loved, then they're able to take those risks and trust others, and trust yourself, and love yourself, like you said. You know, it has to begin with yourself. It has to begin with yourself. I certainly felt, you know, the love and trust from you guys because of the risks that you took and the sharing that you did, and it's huge, absolutely huge, transformative, rewarding. And I think also humor played a big role in those difficult times, right?
That's true. It was definitely good to be laughing at ourselves and joking around. Humor helps. Laughter really is the best medicine.
I think it's really neat to look back on everything because I mean I do occasionally. I went through my book the other day. I was looking through it and everything, but it's neat to kind of get together with people who were also there and just reflect on it as a whole.
You remember things and thoughts and feelings that you haven't really felt the same way since then because it's different.
Even just reading through my paper, like there's stuff that I don't even remember writing, and sentences or paragraphs where I was like, wow, I have no recollection of when I thought of that, but it's definitely kind of come into play with my life now, so I feel like I'm practicing it, but I don't remember when it happened, kind of thing. So it's neat to see that.
And that's that
played out.
Yeah, increasing your awareness,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. That's really cool. So would you guys be interested in doing this again sometime? And maybe
definitely.
we can invite others if there's anybody else.
I think we need male thought. We need like a boy.
I think
interesting
for
to see.
me, like since I'm going where through another year, 4 years, I think I may wait until like I'm done university until I experience a bit more in that environment, because like right now I'm been through high school and elementary school. Now I'm entering a new environment that's going to do a whole lot more either damage or like send me more lessons. So I might wait until like after university to see how much I've changed. Maybe like in the middle of university, like after my second year, I might see how much I've changed. because I know it's gonna be a huge difference from like right now. So I might, I don't know, like.
I find it change every day.
You went from school to school to school.
Yeah.
I went from school to school to work, and then I'm going back to school, and then I'm going to work. So it'll be interesting to see.
No, but like I'm living on my
Transition.
own in Toronto with new people, with nobody who I'm like used to. Even though I made friends, like they don't live in Res. So it's like a whole new experience for me, like to be on my own. Like I'll have like so many like problems. Like I'm worried about like, okay, do not spend your money a lot. Like do not go like more than one shopping trip. And I maybe did 2 or 3, and I spend more. So like I've learned to like kind of tone it down on the shopping. Like I'm not gonna spend that much money next semester, definitely.
I found a lot for me right now because I'm not going to school yet, taking a year off. But right now, for a few months, I'm not even working because where I work, we close down for the winter. So lately, I've been like reading out my philosophy book, and I'm starting to get really reflective. I have way too much time on my hands where I'm just at home by myself, and I've been thinking so much, like, too much sometimes. And so I've been starting to do things like I got a bulletin board, and I'm like digging out all my old photos and covering it with things that are meaningful to me and memories, and I'm making a little kind of like a scrapbook, I guess, of just, you know, like ticket stubs and feathers I found on the ground or just things like that, and kind of doing this all over, sort of going back and reflecting again on who I am and what's important to me and things like that. So it's kind of neat to have that time to myself, because I think when we are going to school or working, you sort of lose that because you get into a mindset of you wake up, you go to school or you go to work, you get your tasks accomplished, you go home, and then you're tired, so you rest and you do it all again. You don't have as much time to really focus on just doing things for you. So it's nice to have that.
I have a room in my house, and it's just my office, but since I'm not in school, I'm not in there very often for study purposes. So what I have is, I had a couch in there, it was just a futon, that way if people are over, they can sleep there or whatever, if they get snowed over or something. And I took that out, it's gone, and I have, it goes like this, like this, like this, in a small little box, and then it goes back out and around to a bigger section of the room. And in the little box is where the couch was, and all the way around that box is that myself wall, the eye wall. And I've got
Your living wall?
Yeah, I've got my living wall, and it's covering 3 walls right now, and it's just huge full of stuff that's so important to me. Like, I took my dad to his favorite play, or well, his favorite movie was put into a play, and I took him to see that. So that ticket's up there, and the pictures that we took, because we didn't go straight to the play, we went shopping, we were in this mall. There's this Apple store in this mall that is probably 3 times the size of your house. Like this Apple store was huge, and so I have a picture of this huge store up on the mall, or up on my wall, and just all kinds of things that I'm doing right now, because I work, sleep, work, sleep, work, grocery shopping, sleep. So I don't do a lot, and so a lot
You
of
could
it's
take some
stuff from
pictures
my.
of your wall and share it with us, that'd be
Yes.
kind of cool.
I could take
Yeah.
some pictures of my wall for you guys and show them to you.
Do you Skype? Becky?
Do I Skype? Yeah, I have Skype on my phone and my computer.
Do you?
Occasionally.
But you have used it?
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I Google plus video chat is really good though. With Google you can actually do multiple people without paying for it, so.
Right. Oh, okay. I
That's
didn't
very
know
good that.
Because I paid
people-
for the multiple people.
Yeah,
on
Google,
Skype.
like
Yeah.
you just sign up for Google.
Can you record it too?
I think so, I will have to see.
I'll have to look into that. Well, maybe we could do a Skype call, like just a 15-minute touch base, just to kind of remind
I can
us.
show you guys how bright my house is.
Well, I'd love to see your wall.
You should see my house though. I have the brightest yellow possible. It's sunflower yellow in my bathroom and kitchen. And then I have this, what's it called? Caribbean blue in 2 of my bedrooms. And then I have this like, it was supposed to be pale green in my office because pale green is a releasing color. It's calming and soothing for an office. But the wall underneath it was like a yellowy color. and my landlord only put one coat of the paint on it, so in some lights it looks yellow, in some lights it looks green, so it's like a limey green, it's really great. and
Transforming
beautiful.
color.
Yeah, I think I'll kind of not show you my room. It's gonna be a mess. But you'll be able to see my bulletin board with my posters and all that.
I'm doing that more too. I'm spending so much more time in my room, kind of creating my own little space. I'm getting sentimental now that because I'm getting ready to go away, and I never spend time in my room because it's kind of, I don't know, it's a bit inconvenient. It's not the best space. I don't have chairs, or so I sit on my floor. But I'm buying like all these scented candles and incense, and I just sit in my room and I like draw or I read a book, and I just spend whole days up there just by myself in my room on my floor. But I love it, and I'm decorating and
stay in your room as much as possible because
Yeah.
the room that you might be staying in when you go off might not be that.
I feel like I've taken it for granted.
I think it's interesting that you said that you're preparing yourself to leave.
It's weird. It's a strange time.
Like even though I wasn't going away to school, I know I felt the same way. Like I have all these posters at my dad's house, and I was trying to decide whether I was going to take them off and bring them, or whether I was going to leave them at my dad's. They're all still at my dad's, so I'm not touching them until he moves. But I've got all these things up on my dad's, all like my own living wall at my dad's, that I kind of started when I was in your class, but I had always done it, like just things that mattered to me would go up on my wall. So I always kind of had that idea, and it's fun going over my dad's and seeing what's on my wall and comparing it to my wall at home and thinking like, hey, that's
like
neat.
with my room, like I was like talking with Brianne a couple of days ago, and I was gonna write like when I go back to home, but I was like, wait a second, so I just just wrote back to school. I'm like, I hadn't thought about it, it is my home now. So
Home's where you are.
I know.
I was thinking we should maybe try to call Jackie just quickly and just say hello.
yeah.
I don't know if she's available or not, but we can try her. I know she was, is that